We've come to a crossroads in history between all that was and all that will be, all that might be, all that can be. It's a choice point, a pivot point for the human race. What we choose to do at this crossroads is going to determine the future of our world, the future of our species. It's a sacred crossroads, as crossroads were historically looked at as a sacred space where many possibilities arise, and one of them might be optional. To make the right decision at this crossroads means to recognize your role in the collective consciousness of the species, because the collective consciousness of the species is many things. It's not just one thing. A major part of the collective consciousness of the species is currently bent on suicide, on destroying the world, destroying everything good. And that part of collective consciousness, in most cases, I think, doesn't really even know that that's what it's doing. It's fooling itself into thinking its ideas are the right ideas. And let me get this out in the open right away here. That suicidal consciousness of our species at this time crosses all political barriers. It's not just that the left or the right or the Democrats or the Republicans are the ones destroying everything and the opposite ones are the ones trying to save anything. In fact, that whole hyperpolarized way of looking at things is one of the things that's destroying the world. This is not us versus them. The us versus them mentality, which is something we were warned about in biblical times, do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Treat everyone else the way you wish to be treated. That hyperpolarization, regardless of what side of the axis you're on, is one of the things that is preventing the species at large from waking up. And this is a disastrous state, because there is no other species in this world that is bent on destroying itself. There is no other species that's stuck at a recalcitrant adolescent stage of behavior. There are other species who individual members of those species are destroying other individual members of its own species or of other species, but there's no species trying to destroy itself. So in order to cross the crossroads is to recognize the sacred invitation to enter a new stage of consciousness, a new stage of evolution where the hyperpolarization of this against that gives way to something holistic. This is not easy to do. And it involves facing your fears and realizing that any fear-based consciousness will always produce more of the same. Any actions and intentions you make out of fear are going to yield more fear. Any seeds you plant that are based on fear, heavy judgment, heavy polarization, all kinds of bigotry in its various forms beyond racial bigotry, will grow a crop of the same. So inside you and me is a summons to rise above the broken and obsolete stories of the past, the stories that are based on fear, and really get it on a primal level that you are here to embody the wholeness of your love and your truth, and there's no other reason you're here. This is hard to embody when thought forms press in from all around you with the stories of how bad things are and how you have to give your power away in order to trust those greater forces of leaders in the government, leaders in medicine, leaders in politics, who know much better than you do. That's one of the greatest fear-based stories in the world, that there are these experts from afar who know much, much better than you do what's good for you, what's right for you, and you better listen to them. The danger of that idea is that you will stop listening to your own core truth. And you'll know that you've gotten to a core truth when there's some love in it. You'll know you've gotten to a core truth when there's some wholeness in it. If you persist in digging down through the fear-based stories until you get to the wholeness within, you're choosing to use the sacred crossroads of history as a way to conjure a togetherness, a wholeness, a union, a deeper truth beyond the broken, fractured truths that separate, that cut apart, truths that deny love, truths that deny spirit. And this is the choice. This is the decision at the crossroads, which you're going to have to make more than once, almost definitely. It's not just that you choose love and wholeness over fear and separation once, and then you cross the crossroads. It's that your choice is going to be challenged repeatedly by media and family and friends and lovers. And if each time you approach those crossroads, you realize that you actually have a say in the future of the species, that can empower you to dig deep into the wholeness of your own soul.